On the night of April 19, 1989, a brutal attack in New York's Central Park shocked the entire city. A young woman, Tricia Maley, was found beaten, assaulted, and left nearly dead. Within hours, public fear escalated, and within days, 5 Black and Latino teenagers were arrested and charged. Their names became headlines, their faces became symbols of youth violence. But what really happened in that interrogation room? And were these teenagers actually guilty or victims of a broken system? Part 1. Who were the 5? And how were they arrested? The teenagers: Antron McCray, Kevin Richardson, Yusef Salam, Raymond Santana, and Corey Wise. Ages 14 to 16 at the time of arrest. The context of the arrests. After finding the joggers severely injured, NYPD rushed to respond to public pressure. The boys were brought in after reports of groups of teens wilding in the park. They were questioned for hours, some for more than 30 hours, without lawyers or parents present. Many later said they were deprived of sleep, food, and pressured to confess. Part 2. The trials and the problematic evidence, the confessions. All 5 teens gave written or videotaped confessions. Later, each one recanted, saying the statements were coerced by detectives. The confessions contradicted each other and did not match the crime scene details. Lack of physical evidence. No DNA, no fingerprints, and no physical evidence linked any of the 5 to the crime. Years later, DNA tests matched a different man, Matias Reyes, a convicted serial rapist who eventually confessed to being the sole attacker. Part 3. Exoneration and justice. Their names cleared. In 2002, after Reyes confessed and DNA confirmed his involvement, the convictions of all 5 teens were vacated. They became known as the Exonerated Five. The civil suit. In 2014, New York City agreed to pay $41 million in compensation for the wrongful convictions and years spent in prison. The case was seen as a powerful example of racial bias, flawed police procedures, and systemic injustice. Part 4 and beyond the verdict. What this case reveals: media bias and public pressure. The boys were demonized in the media, portrayed as violent predators long before any evidence was confirmed. Coerced confessions. Their statements were the primary basis for conviction, despite inconsistencies and lack of physical proof. The power of DNA. Scientific evidence became the key to uncovering the truth and correcting a historic wrong. Legal reform. This case highlights the urgent need for protections during juvenile interrogations, especially for minors questioned without lawyers or guardians. Final scene. Closing message. The story of the Central Park 5 is not just about wrongful conviction. It's about how easily truth can be lost when fear takes control, and how justice can fail when the system prioritizes closure over accuracy. 5 young lives were derailed, 5 families were shattered, and only 13 years later did the truth finally emerge. But their story reminds us of something important. Truth doesn't disappear, it waits to be uncovered. If you found this video insightful, subscribe to Behind the Verdict for more deep dive investigations into real cases where justice took a dark turn. Tell us in the comments, what lesson do you take away from this case?